Good afternoon and welcome again to Lyon Jewellers here in Lancaster. Hopefully you've been finding the videos that we've been doing helpful, and if we can help you to actually purchase one, we do have 0% finance available. So please phone us, contact us by email, or have a look on the website for the phone number. We'll only be too pleased to help you. We are competitive, I can assure you of that, and we certainly like to please. Now, today what I want to speak about is the new Speedmaster 57. Obviously it gets its name from, that's when it was first introduced by the Omega company, and this particular watch, we're just going to look at it in detail, starting from, it's a chronograph watch, it's waterproof to 100 meters. It has a sapphire glass on the front as well as on the exhibition case back as well. But the main feature that I find about this particular watch, which I rather like, is the twin dials. A lot of chronographs tend to have 3 dials. Omega, when they produced the Speedmaster 57, this particular model, which is all steel, the beauty of the blue dial that we have on this particular one is not only the red hands and the Seamaster with the red seconds hand, but I've stopped this deliberately to show you one or two little things about it first. Now, the case and the bracelet are all steel. You have a tachymeter bezel running around the outside, which allows you to record speed or distances, so that does help you quite a lot. Now, the reason I've stopped this, if we can start running it again, you will notice that on this particular dial, placed at 3 o'clock, you've got a small hour recorder below the minute recorder. So I've had this running for a few minutes just to show you that there is 2 hands on that particular dial. Now, if we continue that past, you'll then see that the minute recorder, as our seconds hand is going round on the chronograph facility, and the actual stopwatch facility is moving accordingly. And then if we reach the desired point, the desired speed or distance that we want to know and calculate, we then return everything. So everything then zeros, and you can see the minute hand actually covers up the hour hand. So it's rather nice that it has a small minute track on the inside of this dial at the 3 o'clock position. You'll notice on the 9 o'clock position you have a continuous seconds hand readout, and then the date aperture at 6 o'clock on this particular model. Now, when you first look at Speedmasters and Seamasters of the Omega range, one of the things that I quite like about this watch is the link of the bracelet, and it gives a very flat, symmetrical look about it. A lot of them tend to be made up of several sections of stainless steel, but the lapping, the way that the Omega have produced the bracelet, it takes a beautiful polish. Now, they have special lapping machines in order to produce all these bracelets. When you take it around, it also has a lockable butterfly fastener, which is then released by the 2 buttons. Make sure we don't get the plastic inside here, and then release it accordingly. The links themselves are held in by screws. Many years ago they used to do purely rivet and tubes, which I'm seeing a number of those coming in now where we're having to repin them. But the manufacturer of the new bracelets and the new designs that Omega are coming up with, they keep that beautiful iconic feature of the watch, but they incorporate it in the modern machinery and modern tooling which are synonymous with Omega. Now, a special note for one particular chap, a client of ours, who is known as R17D 5D. I'm sure you know who we're talking about, but I will go through the functions and explain exactly how these particular facilities work. Now, the button, being an automatic watch, you can actually wind it. You'll never overwind it and you'll never damage it. You can give it 30 winds, put it on your wrist, the movement of the wrist will then fully wind the watch. Now, people say to me, what is it actually winding? Well, inside this particular movement, you have two barrels, two mainsprings, and Omega have devised that they can get not only high precision, because it's a full coaxial movement, but because you have two mainsprings, the power reserve for this particular watch is actually 60 hours. Now, you may think, is it good or isn't it good? It actually does help greatly, not only in the time accuracy, but it means that when you go to bed of an evening, if you're not going out the next day and the watch is still sitting on the side of the bedroom table, then it will still keep going and keep perfect time. So that facility is quite important. And if I can show you this by turning it over, if Dan is able to go into it, you will see barrel 1 and barrel 2. Now the demasking is the first thing you will see on this watch. The movement is absolutely beautiful. The engineering and the final finishing to it is excellent. So that is the automatic rotor, which winds both ways and is actually winding. You can see it. You have, let me get it out the way again. You have a barrel 2 and barrel 1. Just leave that for a moment. Now if I just allow that to move, you will see the heart of the watch. This is the balance. Now the balance spring on this particular one, they've only been doing this, to my knowledge, in the past 2 or 3 years. They're now using a silicon hairspring. And you'll see it'll be stamped on the case here. It'll be an SI14. Now the beauty of the silicon hairspring is not only it tends not to distort, it holds its shape and therefore its precision is excellent, and that is a beauty. The poise of the actual balance helps with this particular coaxial movement. Now, because it's a chronograph, the new full chronograph is a 9300 movement, 9300. The previous ones, which are still 60 power reserve, but with a single precision button, that is the 8500 movement. But with the chronograph, on this particular model, on the Speedmaster model, they are 9300. And you can see George Daniels would be absolutely thrilled with what he's ended up producing for Omega. Beautiful, beautiful mechanism. Now, if you could just look at this part here, it says column wheel. Now, what the column wheel does is that if we turn it over, the beauty of the chronograph on the Speedmaster 57 model, when you press this, it's very positive. That is due to the column wheel. Very, very positive feel to it. And you have insulators and also seals, double seals, which secure the buttons so that they are waterproof. And again, stop and 0. So that column wheel drive is quite important. Now when we go and look at the crown, we've talked about how we would wind the watch up. If we pull it out to the first position, this does two things. The beauty of the Speedmaster 57, the hour hand moves only. Now it enables us to alter the date. So if we take it round to the midnight, you will see it change to the 1st, like so. It's quite precise the way that changes as well. But if we're travelling by plane somewhere and there's an hour or a 5-hour difference, whether we're going forward or back in time, then the beauty of this is that you don't interfere with the timekeeping, because the only way you do that would be to stop the watch and then alter everything together. The intermediate button and position alters the hour hand only. So it's quite a feat, that, really, and it's rather a nice feature. One or two Omegas do have that on it, but in this particular one it's part of the standard caliber of that 9300 model. Now the button itself, as you can see, you have that rather nice Omega symbol. It's serrated, sits beautifully on the wrist, and it enables you to wind it. I've often found with some of the very old watches, these are so smooth the way they were designed in the past that you're struggling to wind it up, but with that particular one it does sit particularly nice on the wrist as well. Right, so that explains the functions of the basic functions of the chronograph. Now, one of the other features which I do like about the Speedmaster 57 is that the glass itself is slightly raised, as you can see, and it's not a flat side, it's ever so slightly champagne. I might talk around back into diamonds and other things. It's actually chamfered, and the beauty of that is that it gives the extra strength. It helps the reflection, so that if you're in very bright sunlight, it's a very bright day here in Lancaster, it'll help the anti-reflective. So therefore you'll be able to read quite clearly in daylight and even bright sunlight. Now, when we turn the watch over again and we look at this beautiful exhibition case back, you can see that it's also raised, and again with a chamfered finish to it. This helps the slimness of the watch, but also houses, as you can see, the automatic rotor. So the precision of producing that, and you've got to consider that this watch is a waterproof watch. It's been tested to 100 meters, so you can swim in it comfortably, and then you have a screw down locking bezel also supporting the case back. You'll notice the flush fitting here of these bracelet fittings. You have a spring bar, quite a professional spring bar supporting that. It's drilled halfway into this case, so you've got a very positive fitting, and therefore you're unlikely to damage it. The fitting itself are made out of a solid block. Previously, many years ago, they used to do a lot of watches, and these were a very flimsy sort of flap which used to distort and misshape. If you just do that, you'll see the thickness of the stainless steel and the way that it's been machined in order to fit perfectly onto the case. So rather a nice touch, that, and certainly very well finished. Now, beautiful, gliding with precision. That's the beauty of the chronograph facility that you have. Now, the movement, because of the quality of the movement, we have a little tab here which tells you that it's a coaxial movement, sapphire crystal. The main thing to note, I find, this has a 4-year guarantee. I don't think there's many mechanical movements and mechanical items when you compare it to cars and other pieces of machinery. This oscillates, the actual balance oscillates at 28,800 beats per hour. Now, to do that and give a 4-year guarantee, that is the precision engineering that you're looking at. You are getting a very truly highly finished mechanical piece of equipment which is very functional, iconic in design, very readable, which is important, and certainly a style which most people would aspire to. So as I say, if we can help you here at Banks Lyon Jewellers, we do offer you an interest-free credit scheme, as I've said, over 12 up to 36 months, and we accept the usual credit cards, but please, it would be lovely to speak to you or get in touch with us. Thank you very much for watching today. It's been a pleasure to introduce the Speedmaster 57 to you. Thank you. Goodbye.